Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, a very good morning to all of you. How are you today? Have you had breakfast? Yes, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I would like to welcome all of you to our final episode of Berbual Mak-Mak Talkshow at SaturDATE with ARIF. So, the topic of postnatal life, what must husbands know? All right, so for that, we have with us today our first speaker, Ustaz Muhammad Nazim Muhammad. He is the head of Dawah and Family Development in Al-Istighfar Mosque. He is also a Naib Qadi from ROMM. How are you, Ustaz?
Tes. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah sehat.
Oh, Alhamdulillah itu aja boleh. Okay, so I am very excited today because we have two doctors with us today. So I would like to introduce to you the first one. So if we talk about KK, we will already picture her in our mind. Okay, so she is the head and senior consultant from Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology from KKH. Welcome, Dr. Susanna. How is it like being here today live with us?
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much for having me. It's very encouraging to be here and not delivering babies or not being in the hospital, but I'm very reassured that I am not the only doctor in KK Hospital. There are many other good ones there, better than me. So I'm just here to share a little bit about what we do, what we can support you in one way or the other. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. And also, I would like to introduce you, the consultant of General Pediatric Service, Dr. Nur Adila. How are you, Doctor?
Assalamualaikum. I'm happy to be here, and I saw some babies, so very excited to meet you guys later.
All right, so inshallah, later on, doctors and ustaz will share more about today's topic. So, inshallah, we will be talking about matters regarding postpartum depression, anxiety, what to do with the newborns, the do's and don'ts, and many more, inshallah. Okay, so for those who have anything to ask, please, you can scan this QR code and ask away. Inshallah, we will be answering the questions via live. Inshallah. Okay, so this I will give you some time to scan the QR code. For those at home, you are also welcome to join us in our Q&A session later on. Okay, can? All right, inshallah. So as usual, before we go on to this topic for today, I would like to show you our short drama for this episode. Okay, so let's watch it.
What you want? I'll get everything. What you want?
Why?
He's been crying all day long. I'm so tired. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I also don't know what to do. And this is my first time being a parent too. Okay, you just sit down here for you. Take a rest. Let me just check what I can search for.
Ya Allah, what happened? Mustafa, what happened? Mustafa, why you cry? He won't stop. I tried everything.
Hey, you just pass to his Nani lah. She will surely know what to do.
Come. Let Nani handle. Come. Allah, kesian. Okay, stop crying, ah.
See? Stop crying. I knew it. Mak surely know what to do.
Wow, what did Mak do, Oh, Mak, thank you so much, Mak, for your help. Mak! No! Wrong! I feed him rice. He's still hungry. It's okay. Come, let me.
Hey. What happened? Why did you shout to Mom?
Yeah, a drama. Anyone can relate to non-stop crying and so on. I still remember the chaos and the drama that happened during my time lah. Right, it's not only for the first time for the first child, but somehow every pregnancies give me different set of struggles. Right, so inshallah today we will start off the topic with asking Ustaz Muhammad Nazi, as a husband, as a father, as a Muslim, what are the best Islamic practice to be done for the newborn?
Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Allahumma shalli wa sallim wa barik alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Alright, Alhamdulillah, thank you all for sacrificing your rest time to be here. May we get lots of beneficial knowledge, inshallah, not just for us, but for our future offsprings, inshallah. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Let me share a few Islamic practices for the newborn. But before that, I would like just to recap on the pre-born, bukan? When you know that you are having a child, what the mother should do. Ustazah Latifah has shared this. I just, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, will just recap on a few things. Okay, Bismillah. So most of these are taken from seekersguidance.org. It is a great website, lots of articles that we can learn from. So this is part of the practices or advices that is given by Habib Omar, Hafizahullah Ta'ala, on what the mother or the parents itself should do. Part of it, I'm touching more on the spiritual side, because as we know, we have the mind, body and soul. We feed the mind with lots of information and knowledge. We feed the body itself with healthy food, so on and so forth. How about the soul itself? How old is our soul? Is it still at the kindergarten stage or primary school stage? So we need to concentrate on our spiritual health. So this is part of our spiritual health for the mother and also the baby, inshallah. So what you can do is, the first one is to recite Surah Inshiqaq, recite Surah Luqman on the first trimester, Surah Yusuf on the second trimester, Surah Maryam on the third trimester. Or, Ustaz, this is so much for me, I do not know how to read, so on and so forth. You can just repeat Ya Latif 129 times morning and night. At least, if you can't do it everything, just don't leave everything out. So this is the spiritual side. Tamam. During labor, again, Ustazah Latifah has shared all of this. I will just touch on Ya Latif, because you won't remember what you're gonna do spiritually lah, your religious side. You won't, because it's gonna be haywire. I have not gone through labor. Oh, tough crowd semua masih belum faham. Okay. Alright, yeah. So we men do not go through labor. Our super wife and super mom, mashallah, tabarakallah, went through this, and we do not know. We try to understand the pain. So for dear mothers and dear husband, our job is actually to remind them. At least be the one who reminds them. Sabar recite Ya Latif, or you yourself recite and they will follow. So that will help a lot. All right. So general advice: do a lot of zikr, do a lot of wirid in your 9 months. Read as much Quran as possible, because we need the help from the Almighty, because you are going to a life and death situation. Nak tak nak, hakikatnya begitu. Yeah, do lots of salawat upon Prophet Muhammad SAW. All of this wirid and zikr will help ease your journey, inshallah. Babies are said to be able to recognize certain sounds and music when they are in their womb. I don't know whether this is scientifically, but in the Quran it's mentioned Sami'un Basir. You listen, and before the word of seeing, it's listening. Sami'. So the baby listens to whatever you do, whatever you watch, whatever emotion you have. The baby will become such person lah. Allahumma salli wa sallim alaihi. Right. So again, a few dua that you can recite. Wa'idhuhu bil wahidi min syarri kulli hasid, or in any language that you can. Tafadhal. Allah understand, insyaAllah. In any language, in Malay, in English. Ya Allah, bantulah aku, ya Allah tolong, ya Allah sakit, ya Allah. And crush your husband's hands as much as you can. Just do it. Just do it. Because we would not understand what you're going through. Okay? Bismillah. Tamam. So now we are going, after birth, what should we do to what practices should we practice lah for our children, the religious side. The first one, basically everybody would say azan and iqamah. So I will put that on the second part. The first one is to give thanks and be content and be grateful that you are going through this journey. You are safe, you have safely delivered, and your wife is safe lah, both lah. Dua-dua selamat. So this is very important.
There is a discussion whether C-section is not good, is not better. The good part is to deliver normally. This discussion should stop. There's no winning points. As long as you are safe and your baby is safe, that is the main point. And that is the start of your amanah. Allahumma salli alaihi. Because children itself is our responsibility. So it's not I want to because I didn't get to be a footballer, I want my kid to be a footballer. It's not about that. It's more onto this is an amanah from Allah SWT, and it's my job to nurture this kid to become someone who Allah SWT is pleased with. Because Allah SWT is the one who gave us this amanah. Wallahu ta'ala. So show gratitude and contentment, should become a more practicing father and mother. Yeah, Wallahu alam. All right. So recognize that this baby is a trust from Allah, not something that we own. It's not us. No, I am the one who bathed him. I'm the one, so on and so forth. But the spiritual side, it is a gift from Allah SWT. Never forget that. Wallahu alam. So again, take sampai pukul berapa? Sorry, take note on the spiritual growth. We tend to concentrate on our financial growth because to pay this and pay that. Concentrate on our emotional growth. Do concentrate on your spiritual growth. This is very important because by increasing your spiritual growth, it will help you to make the right decision and to be calm and to be patient in such situations. And it will help you to understand why Allah test you like this, why Allah show you that you should go here, go there, so on and so forth. Yeah, I really have to point out the importance of spiritual growth. Allahu alam. So other than that, okay, so the baby has come, alhamdulillah. If you are in the labor ward, alhamdulillah, in the delivering what? Delivering? Sweet. If you are if you have the bukan choice. If you have the opportunity to go into the delivery suite, go into it. For myself, I requested to be in, and I requested this ni balik kepada doktor. I requested to play the Quran inside the delivery suite. Ni cuba nasib lah, kalau dapat. Lepas ni semua minta. Yeah, because I want the baby to be born in a room where the Holy Quran is recited. It's my personal preference. Yeah, and alhamdulillah the doctor izinkan, alhamdulillah. So that's the first part. So bila baby keluar, then you sibuk, ustaz cakap nak kena azan. Doktor nak bawa baby ke tempat lain, then the other doctor need to tepuk-tepuk kaki baby to clear the lungs and so forth. You sibuk, Allah Akbar. Kalau boleh, bolehlah. Kalau tak boleh, jangan marah doktor. Do not let the doctor do his part, then after that you do your part. Faham Because I did that. Allah Akbar. Then doctor, what's so good the baby hayat salah. Tak syok pula. But the important thing for the husband to understand what is the azan, to understand what is the iqamah, understand the words. And you do not need to do the Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, the melodious Allahu Akbar. Everybody there, the set of people over there will change to another set because everybody has gone back. Tough crowd juga tak faham. Susah, masya-Allah. Tak sampai. Baik, saya cuba lagi nanti insya-Allah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So again, do the azan or the takbir because we have cases that people do the takbir. Allahu Akbar. Macam takbir raya? Allahu Akbar, Allah. No, not the takbir raya, the azan. And you have to understand the meaning. You are telling the baby, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. Bear witness there is no God but Allah. Bear witness that Prophet Muhammad SAW is the Prophet of Allah. We are setting the rules, the set of life hacks that you need to survive the world. Come to prayer, come to success. Without prayer, there is no success. We are letting our children, our baby at that first moment understand that. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Next, do the tahnik. This is all sunnah. It is not wajib. It is recommended. If you can do it, inshallah. So sunnah is basically moistening the dates and putting to the palate of the newborn. This will ignite the taste bud, or some says that scientifically it will protects the baby from the danger of complication caused by low blood sugar. Wallahu alam. But it's a sunnah, but not excessively. Or the whole date you put with kacang. No lah, please. Oh, bagus the warm up. All right. Tamam. All right. So again, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ, we do this. For our time, we find a righteous and a religious, pious person to do such things, because our reason behind it is so that our child will grow up to become as religious, as pious as the person itself. Wallahu alam. Naming the child, name the child with a good meaning, because this is a name where we will call them the whole life. It is a dua. So do your research on what dua you want for your child. For example, the name of the child is Zikrahman, thinking of the merciful. That's my son lah. Or the other name, Shihabuddin, the stars of the religion, the hero of the religion, so and so forth. Name it, but don't name it too long, because it will be a hassle if doa selamat. Tak sampai juga. Okay. Bismillah. Other than that, Allah SWT, we do the akikah. This is to show gratitude, and so we are grateful that Allah SWT has given us this precious gift, this additional for the ummah of Prophet Muhammad SAW, to help spread goodness, spread kindness to the world, and we show our gratitude by sacrificing an animal in the name of Allah SWT and giving the meat itself to the poor and needy. So this is the beauty of Islam. We do not think of our own self. It's a healthy cycle where we give back. Allah give us a child, mashallah tabarakallah, we give back to the community, help the community, so on and so forth. By doing the akikah, this is the sunnah of the Prophet SAW. This is also what you are doing now, mashallah tabarakallah. This is a good culture, what you are doing now. You are seeking knowledge before the baby comes, so on and so forth. This is very good. I always mention this to the couples who are getting married, that when you go for your preparation marriage course, this is a good culture. It's not just the 4 hours or the 8 hours that you are learning for a whole lifestyle of skill, no. But seeking knowledge itself is a good culture for you and your wife, for your family itself. Yeah, it should be you should put this in your dating routine, not just watching movies, not just going for dinner at high places. So going for talks itself is a great beneficial date that will uplift your spiritual growth, inshallah. Wallahu alam. And keep on learning. For now, you're learning about parenting, then learn about child development, learn the Islamic teaching on raising a child itself, the Islamic values, the ethics, the teachings, to upbring a child lagi-lagi in this time of age. The child should know what is a man, what is a woman. Faham Okay dah, sikit je tak boleh. Nanti kau terusi. Okay, Allah SWT. Okay, so understand that you are now, for those who are blessed with a child, or you're in your pregnancy stage and so forth, this is a, mashallah tabarakallah, a sacred journey. A sacred journey. So you need, the husband and the wife need to be parents before the baby come itself, which means you need to uplift your spiritual growth, because this will ease your journey later during the battle of delivering. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
Mashallah, mashallah, tabarakallah, Ustaz. Thank you so much. It will be wonderful moments, Ustaz, if the father of these babies can do that.
They will.
They will, inshallah. But again, attending to the baby is one thing. Attending to the mother of the baby is also another thing.
Yes.
It's also a big challenge. I'm
Yeah.
like, we wife also go through challenges. I believe that the husband also plays a part in it. The husband need to be really, really, really patient with the wife. At the end of the day, she is the one who give birth to your babies, right? Okay, so going through pregnancy, I mean, like, it's a big challenge lah. Be it physical, doktor. Saya dulu daripada gini ya. Gini tak saya. Okay, be it physically, be emotionally. I mean, like, going through the transition from a single lady to a mother, to a wife, then to a mother of one, to a mother of two, to a mother of 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever numbers that you plan for lah. Okay, so some, I mean, like, support is very needed lah in this situation. I mean, like, get your support from immediate family members, from friends, or whoever you are comfortable with. But some are not that lucky. I mean, like, even to some women who receive support, they may have these complications or what we call as postpartum depression or anxiety. So what can you share with us, Dr. Susanna, what actually postpartum depression is, and how do we know when we have it?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me and Dr. Adila and the rest of the team here. I'm just going to support what Ustad said about the, playing Quranic verses, azan in the delivery suite. So from the start of your pregnancy or even before you go into labor, engage your doctor, engage the midwives, then the moment you enter, because we are all open to what your needs are. If you say that you want to play the Quranic verses, by all means play it, but don't play it until the entire delivery suite, the entire floor can hear. Keep it to your room, and as it is, you want it to be loud enough, and you can play it throughout, so it's no issue at all. A lot of the midwives understand our what we want to do, what our needs are. Some people would want certain surah to be played. Some people, even for those who go for elective Caesar, for example, we do encourage having these rituals or having all these verses to be played throughout the entire procedure of elective Caesar. So we are open to that. So I think what I agree with what Ustad says, that preparation is actually very important. Okay. So your life changes once the baby is born. Actually, your life changes when you decide to get married. It gets better once you are pregnant. It gets even better when the children comes. But all in all, as a physician, I don't only take care of the mother, I actually take care of the father as well. We do have circumstances where the father faints, cannot see blood. We do have fathers who actually want to cut umbilical cord. We do have fathers who are more excited and they are the best cheerleaders I can ever have in the delivery suite. So do not underestimate your husbands, okay, wives, because they are your biggest fan and they will be there throughout the entire journey. But all this, it comes with preparation. You suffered for 9 months. A lot of us say we're suffering, right? You are bloated, you put on weight. Just now, the moderator, Ustazah, said, you become like this, but when you're pregnant, you become like that. You also are swollen, you develop high blood pressure sometimes. But with all the pain, with all the sweat, the pushing, even for Caesar, you sometimes can feel that when the baby is delivered, the moment you see your baby, everything changes. Even for husbands, you see a baby, you know that it's an achievement. Your mission accomplished, but that's the beginning, because that's your alarm clock for the rest of your life. Right? So you need to be open and appreciate. The gratitude is very important. Have that with you. We are blessed that we got pregnant. We are blessed that we could carry the baby till 9 months. And we are blessed that we are able to deliver this baby. Right? So our roles change. So for husbands, when you marry your wife, she's not only a wife, but she's got her own identity. She actually is a sister, is a peer, is a colleague at work. And when she delivers thereafter, she has to recover from what she's gone through, right? And her role changes. Just like you become dads, and your wife becomes a mother. But you see, there's a lot of things that happens after delivery, and hence that can lead to postnatal depression, as the question asks. You have to think about, after delivery, confinement. Where do you do confinement? Discuss about this before. Do you need a confinement individual to help you? Maybe it's your mother. Maybe it's your sister who's able to help you, the extra hand. What do you do during confinement? Do you need to rest and not move at all and just stay in bed? But you need to strengthen. You need to rest, but also be able to go back to what your life was before. You need to have good nutrition. That's why people nowadays have got nutrition, confinement meals, right? For example. But if you have an extra financially, by all means, but it is not a necessity if your mother's the best cook ever, okay? Then how do you feel about things? You're going to be very tired. Breastfeeding is advised, right? You go after delivery, many of you, a lot of people will tell your mothers, your sisters will say, you must breastfeed your baby. But it comes with practice. Your body needs to adapt to it. I just recently saw a patient on Thursday. She came and she said, "Doctor, I suffered from postnatal blues and maybe I had postnatal depression." She came to see me only 6 weeks later. She's a nurse, she's a healthcare personnel, and she knew that she could reach out for help. So the issue was her own mother was telling her, "You must breastfeed. Breastfeed is the best." That is true, very true. But no matter what, whether your milk is enough or not, you must breastfeed. But the mother-in-law noticed that she was crying all the time. The mother-in-law realized that she was struggling. And her mother-in-law was the one who says, if you cannot cope, you need to top up. You top up a little bit and see how you get on. So you see the conflicting figures in the house. But at the end of the day, she had to reason out and speak to the husband, discuss with the husband, and make the right choice for herself. So 6 weeks later, when she came to the clinic, she solved it. But the journey, I can imagine how painful it is. So don't forget that breastfeeding is not only just providing the food, but there's also the bottles to wash, there's also the engorgement, the cracked nipples as well, and care for the baby as well, right? And you want to go back to normal. So I'm just going to show you with this video.
With our first pregnancy, she did have a very serious case of postpartum depression. We were not prepared for it. We didn't think that it could happen to us. We weren't even very familiar with it. We were very, very much in the dark, both of us. Small signs of changes in her personality that if you didn't live with her, you wouldn't have noticed. And since we didn't have a lot of education in the field of postpartum depression, my first instinct was to chalk it up to just being a brand new mom and being nervous and it being a new experience for us. Couldn't recognize the person sitting in front of me. So we dropped my daughter off with her grandmother and got her to the hospital, where they said, yeah, this is postpartum depression. It's probably one of the worst that you could see. It was a good plan. It made sense. We were going to get her on her original medication system. We we're going to take any chances. She was going to go right back on it. But we just didn't anticipate how much faster it would return this time. And what happened over the span of weeks the first time happened over the span of 4 or 5 days, and we just were not prepared for it. We had 4 great years of her being the best mom she could be. She was a healthy, fully functioning adult, very warm, very happy, very outgoing. Just a very normal, very happy individual, which is what makes this all the more shocking that this happened to her. The change came so quickly and so rapidly, and we just weren't prepared.
Sorry. Every Monday we got Monday blues. So we're allowed to be blues. I was just telling my daughter yesterday, every day I feel blue. I should be a Smurfette. But actually, in life, all of us have got moments of being blues, right? We have got subtle moments where we just want to be alone. We just want to just switch off for a while. And this occurs majority, if not in many of us, for postnatal blues. It's very common. It's due to the adjustments of the role of the mother, having to cope with breastfeeding, taking care of the baby. What do you do when the baby cries? That's adjustment. And a lot of times by 2 weeks, you are super mothers, super fathers, where you are helping each other and you are already into that role. So we asked about postnatal depression. It is becoming more and more common. It is becoming more and more talked about. And we in Singapore in February 2023 actually came up with guidelines. And if you check on the resources under KKH, there is a set guidelines where you can seek and see that actually how you diagnose postnatal depression is usually done prior to pregnancy. For Healthier SG, you need to detect that. You need to accept the fact that sometimes if you have these fleeting feelings, you need to seek help. And psychosis is the other side of it, where it is actually quite extreme, where you can see in the earlier video, that if you don't treat it and you don't recognize it, that is when the problem comes in. So sometimes you do have history of this without you realizing, right? Sometimes you feel very quiet. So for husbands, sometimes if your wife is always very bubbly and you feel that something's not right, communicate with your wife and ask your wife. At the end of the day is to be sure that you recognize this and you sort of make sure that your risk factors are less. When you say about sometimes the journey of the delivery itself, some people feel that I needed a Caesar, but you forget that you needed an emergency Caesar because we needed to save the baby. And we needed to save you, all right? And our job is to make sure that the mother and baby is well. So in a way, that could cause you to have a bit of depression and hence being affected. So what can you do? Both of you. There are questions in the Q&A that you sent in, right? There are wives already asking for help. How can I tell my husband? And husband, how do I actually recognize, or how do I pick up? The main thing is I know when you're newlyweds, it's very hard for you to recognize the early signs, right? Some of you only know each other maybe 6 months. Some of you maybe 10 years, right? Childhood sweetheart. So the more you live with your partner, the more you spend time with your partner, you have to sacrifice and give that time. And that time is important. And when you want to tell your partner, don't tell when your baby's crying non-stop. Or when your mother-in-law or your mother or your relatives are all in front of you, you're not going to tell that, right? That's going to trigger another different set of conversations. Choose the right time. Communicate, reach out to each other. Be kind. And look out for all these signs. It's not easy, but you need to recognize those and make sure that it's a partnership. Marriage is a partnership. Bringing up a child is a partnership, all right? And you must take pride in that, because what happens and how your baby or your child grow into is your hard work. Values, can read Quran, cannot read Quran, whether they can solat, cannot solat, all these are your own achievements, right? So not all glitter is gold and not all low mood is depression. So you need to do that. So in terms of treatment, always raise to your doctor, even to your GP, even polyclinics, they are actually aware of this. And some of them are treatable causes, like with thyroid diseases, with low HB. All this make you so tired that you just don't want to do anything. Support is very important. Some need medication, some do not need medication. And sometimes some patients need to come into hospital to rest, okay? I'm going to end with this video and pass back to the moderator thereafter.
Our mental health is a vital part of our overall health. Just like our physical health, it can range from healthy to unwell, with at-risk in between. Our mental health depends on our stress level, lifestyle habits, coping abilities, and social support. Mental well-being is not the same as mental health, but the two can influence each other. Our mental well-being is about our thoughts and feelings and how we cope with the stresses of everyday life, so we can have positive relationships and live and work productively. But does that mean mental well-being is about feeling good all the time? Of course not. Having a range of emotions is normal, and accepting them, even the ones that make us feel uneasy, is a big part of our mental well-being. Taking care of our mental well-being may sound daunting, but knowing OK tips can make it easier. Let's take a look at them. Oliver's fast-paced job leads to stresses and worries, but instead of brushing them aside or pretending they're not there, He observes his emotions by taking a pause and identifies them and their source. It allows him to feel more in control and prevents his feelings from building up and getting overwhelming. We might think our mind and body are separate, but they are interconnected and are equally important. That's why Oliver's neighbor Kumar focuses on maintaining a healthy lifestyle. He makes sure he gets 7 hours of sleep, keeps a balanced diet, and exercises regularly. Juggling between finishing studies and starting a career can be demanding, so Aisha is learning to adopt coping skills. Good time management allows her to find time for things she enjoys or those that help her relax, like reading or deep breathing exercises. She views her obstacles in a positive light, treating them as challenges to overcome. Auntie Yoklan's kids work abroad. She often misses them. But she knows whenever she feels lonely, she can reach out to her friend or her neighbor who can check in with her regularly. Reaching out to others can help relieve some of the feelings we struggle with. If we feel consistently overwhelmed, it's okay to reach out for professional support. We can all practice the OK tips for our mental well-being. Learn more at ok.gov.sg.
Just to add on, I've actually brought emotional wellness during and after pregnancy leaflets for you to collect at the site if you've not had it anymore yet. There are some resources. There are also helplines for you to contact if you need any. Okay.
Mashallah, tabarakallah, Susanna. I mean, like, it is a very good information for us to know. At least, I mean, like, if we know all the signs, we know what to do, lah. All right. So I hope that we, a husband and wife, we should look out for one another, inshallah. Okay. So while this is an issue to some mothers, being a new parent itself is not easy. I mean, like, there are a lot of people who will give advices to you, although without you asking for it. So many tips, so many hacks, so many pantang larang and sebagainya. As what in the drama, the mother feed the rice to the baby because according to her, this is how I brought up your husband. He is okay until you marry him, right? So there are still some belief, all right. So I would like to ask Dr. Adila here. I mean, like, to what extent should we believe all these tips and hacks? Silakan, Doktor.
Assalamualaikum. Okay, so now we move on to the baby. What makes all that pain and that, the journey through pregnancy so worth it? So actually, before I go into, this very short survival guide, right? I just wanted to, back up what Ustad said in the beginning about playing music to the child in the womb, about learning about child development even before the baby is born. So there's actually very strong medical evidence about the first 1,000 days of life. If you heard about it before, it starts when you are first pregnant, all the way till the baby is about 2 years old. And this is the time when the brain is rapidly developing. So whatever stimulation you give to your child at this stage is going to impact how he develops and how he is even as an adult. So these are the crucial early years. Okay, so I thought I'll just want to shake things up a bit by starting with a live demo. So this is a survival guide, right? So a lot of first-time fathers, maybe even some mothers may have some questions. How to start off? How do you even carry the baby safely? How do you swaddle the baby? So maybe we can call upon any volunteer fathers-to-be or fathers, if you want to show us how we can actually do this. Anybody? If not, I would like to ask if baby Rukaya's daddy, are you here? Yeah. Okay, give him a hand, Mr. Sultan. So he's your child is about 10 months. Okay. So do you want to show us how you handle and swaddle the baby?
to get into a comfortable position. But to swaddle, honestly, I forgot. So with guidance, I can.
Okay. Okay. As what Mr. Stan says, right? Why do you need to actually support the baby's neck? Okay, this is because at this stage the baby has barely any or at least the neck muscles are very weak. They haven't developed. So if you do not support the head, you actually flop back like that. Okay, until about maybe 3 months, that's when the baby develops some support. Then you see that the baby, like, the baby starts to move. Yeah, we have a live baby there, so cute. Yeah, so it doesn't matter how you carry as long as you're safe and you support the neck. Now about swaddling, maybe Sutta, you just want to try and show us? Okay, come. I hold the baby for you. You can use any cloth, you can use those fancy swaddle blankets, doesn't matter.
Usually myself, I think I remember I put it a bit more to the side so it's easier to hold. I think the neck has to be exposed a little. And then just cover the shorter side. Make sure the baby is comfortable. A bit tighter, I think it's better initially. And just wrap around.
Okay. Let's give him a hand. Hey, thank you so much for demonstrating. Hey, thank you. Okay. So actually, right, the purpose of this actually is just to tell you that there's no hard and fast rule for swaddling. Why you want to swaddle a baby is because especially in the first 3 months of life or the fourth trimester, as a lot of people say, right, the baby sometimes likes to have that sense of security and comfort when you swaddle them because this is the position that they were in the womb. Okay, so the key is that, I just want to break to my slides. Okay, so when you swaddle a baby, as long as you make sure that it's safe and snug, there's no way that the material can cover the baby's face and be a suffocation hazard. And also, not to wrap the baby up like a mummy, like in the first picture. Okay, so there are some babies who have unstable hip joints. So if you wrap the baby tightly at the hips, then this can actually worsen the instability. The key to note is that when your child starts to show signs that they are going to turn over, flip, or roll, then you should no longer swaddle the child. Okay, because if a swaddled baby actually moves to one side and their arms and legs are held, then they cannot support themselves. They cannot protect themselves. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about breastfeeding. So as you know, most of us know, the medical recommendations support the Islamic recommendations. So WHO, World Health Organization, recommends exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. This means that the baby doesn't need water, doesn't need rice water, doesn't need juice or anything, just breastfeeding alone, followed by solid foods until about 2 years or older. And in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, it says Allah says, mothers may breastfeed their children for 2 complete years for whoever who wishes to complete the nursing period. But I would like to also stress that, as what Dr. Susanna said, as what Ustad said, right? If a mother is really unable to exclusively breastfeed, there is no shame or no harm to the baby to top up with formula. And the first line, is actually cow's milk formula, not goat's milk or any other milk formula, oat milk or things like that. This is because cow's milk has the closest nutrient component as mother's milk. But as far as possible, as fathers, do support your wives to achieve exclusive breastfeeding. I found this on CNN Health. It was just published last month. So the father's role in breastfeeding and infant sleep is key. And new research also shows that when you educate fathers on breastfeeding and breast milk, it increases the rate and the continuity of exclusive breastfeeding. So how fathers can play an active role, because obviously you can't take over the role of giving milk to the baby, but you can ensure that your wives have enough good nutrition, they're comfortable, help them with their household chores, so it gives them the space and the time to breathe, concentrate on feeding the baby. And of course, you can take over like diaper changes, for example, waking up at night. If mommy is ready to express into a bottle, then you can take over 1 or 2 feeds for the baby. Okay, so now we move on to, this is a common question that a lot of parents ask me. So what is normal for baby poop? Okay, so in the beginning, right, in the first 1 or 2 days of life, they have this kind of dark green stools. These are the first stools that come out from the intestines. And then later on, anything that is from yellow to brown to green, anything is considered, any of these colors are considered normal. Okay, so let's go through what is abnormal. So there are very few stool colors that are truly abnormal. Okay, so number 1, if the stool is very pale, for example, this tablecloth. So this is what we call clay-colored or soya bean-colored kind of stools. This is abnormal and will require urgent medical attention. This is a sign that there may be some liver dysfunction or liver failure in the baby. If there's blood in the stool, so obviously this is not normal, so it may be very obvious, or it can be some streaks in the stools. If it is very black, okay, this is a sign that there's digested blood, and again, you need to see a doctor for this. Okay, now this was what came up in the video in the introduction, right? Why is my baby crying? What can I do? You pass to mommy, the baby still cry. Pass to daddy, the baby still cry, and then the nenek magically makes the baby stop crying. So, okay, so the thing about your baby crying is that this is their only form of communication. So whether they are uncomfortable, they have a soiled diaper, they are in pain, they will cry. So before you panic and all that, try to identify some of the common causes. So hunger. So when a baby cries in hunger, some of the other signs include sucking of the fist, turning towards the mummy's breast, or in fact anyone who's carrying them, they tend to turn. And then rooting, where they make sucking motions with their mouth. They may have a soiled diaper, they may have nappy rash, or they may be uncomfortable with the weather, with the environment. So too hot or too cold and they appear sweaty or flush. Or the baby may be overstimulated. They are trying to sleep, but they cannot because of the environmental noise, for example. And then, of course, if the baby is falling sick, so if they feel warm, you check the temperature. If they are, starting to have poor feeding or runny nose, then all these are signs that you may need to see a doctor. Okay, so I'm going to go through fever in a newborn baby a few slides forward. And then we come to this concept of colic. A lot of people say, okay, your baby is crying so much, it's just a colic baby. So what does colic actually mean? Actually, colic just means inconsolable crying. There can be multiple reasons, but to say that a child truly has colic is when they persistently cry for more than 3 hours, very consistently, at least 3 days a week. And usually it starts after 1 month of age. Okay, so what are some of the things that you can do to soothe your baby? Okay, so why is it that the nenek took the baby and then the baby quietened down? Okay, some of the babies actually need a change in stimulation, a different caregiver. So for example, if another caregiver takes the baby, or you go for a ride in the car, you bring the baby out in the pram, this can actually help to soothe their crying. And then of course, make sure that all their comfort needs are met, swaddle them in the early period. Some babies actually don't like to be swaddled. So I have some parents who tell me that my baby prefers to be free, and that's fine. You can do baby massage. So later on, we will be giving you a link to the Project ARIF website. So there's actually some steps on how to do infant massage. You can cuddle, rock the baby, make soothing sounds. But contrary to what some people may tell you, you want to train the baby, you just let him cry, then he will be independent, and he will not be dependent on you. Actually, that's not true. So avoid letting your baby cry it out, or cry until they get so tired they fall asleep. Okay, this is because at this stage they need to know that there's someone there for them. This helps with their emotional development. And the other thing that you should never do is shake a baby. Okay, so what happens when you shake a baby, right? So the blood vessels in the baby's brain are very fragile. So when you shake them, the shaking action actually causes shearing of the blood vessels, and it can cause very bad bleeding and brain damage. And these are true real life cases. We actually see them in children, especially children of abuse. Okay. Ustazah, if I am running, because I have is mainly FAQs, so I just have a few left. This is one of the myths that some parents-in-law some parents-in-law or parents-in-law may tell you to do: put the baby under the sun. and whether this helps to prevent the jaundice. Okay, so very briefly, jaundice is yellowing of the skin of the baby's yellowing of the baby's skin and the eyes, right? And this is because their liver is not yet mature to clear this pigment called bilirubin. Most babies actually don't need treatment. It will clear by about 2 weeks of life. Okay. If there are very high levels of bilirubin, then your doctor may advise you to go for phototherapy. Okay, whether it's home phototherapy, now there's an option, or admit to hospital. And there is always a risk of brain damage because of this excess pigment accumulating in the brain. So the thing about sunning a baby is that it does not help because the sun's rays are not the same as the light in phototherapy. And in fact, it can cause problems like sunburns and dehydration. And when a baby is dehydrated, it may make the problem even worse. Okay. Okay, this one we will see maybe later in the Q&A. If anyone's interested, I can talk about umbilical cord care. I just want to touch on a few more very important points. Now, must I bring my baby to the hospital when there is a fever? Okay, so why is it that doctors or medical personnel always say that if the baby has a fever, they should be brought to the hospital? When in the period, especially when they are below 3 months old, this is the time when their immune system is still very immature, and any fever 38 degrees and above, we actually do active intervention, and we want to make sure that there are no serious bacterial infections because these can actually spread rapidly in newborn babies. Okay, so the guidance still stands. If you feel that the baby is warm, measure the armpit temperature, not the forehead, not the ear temperature, because these are all not accurate at this age. Below 6 months, measure the armpit temperature. If the temperature is 37.5 and above, get a doctor to see the child. And usually 38 and above, we will actually advise admission. Okay. I thought that I would want to talk, the last part of my talk will be about child safety. Okay, so we talked about swaddling the baby and all that. I wanted to emphasize on safe sleep. Okay, how to provide a safe environment for the baby to sleep. So the ABCs of safe sleep, very easy to remember. Baby should always be sleeping alone. Okay, not on the bed with mom and dad or other siblings, not with pillows, blankets, or stuffed toys. Okay, these are all potential suffocation hazards. I want to emphasize this because personally, okay, I know of a few cases and it happened within the hospital itself. Mom insisted on sleeping with the baby because she said, I have to breastfeed my baby and it's very tiring. I also need to rest. So what happened was she fell into a deep sleep and then she rolled over the baby. And unfortunately, the baby could not be saved. The baby suffocated. And again, a few years later, this actually happened. If you read the news, there was another case. Mom fell asleep while breastfeeding, didn't put the child in a separate sleeping area, and again, the baby suffocated. So these are all very real cases that we don't want. It's very preventable. And that is why we always say, if mommy is tired breastfeeding, they falls asleep, daddy or any caregiver, please wake her up, bring the baby to their safe sleeping area. So it's okay to breastfeed the baby in bed, but once the baby falls asleep, bring them to a crib or their bassinet. And put them on the back, not on the tummy or the sides, because again, if they are on the tummy, then there's a risk of suffocation. And for the sleeping area, what is actually safe for baby? So if you can see, there's nothing in the cot except for the baby, right? And the mattress is very snug, very tight. There's no gaps between the side of the bed and the mattress. There was another case of a 7-month-old who actually got trapped between the mattress and the side of the bed. And again, this baby also did not make it. Okay, so these are all very real safety hazards. Okay, so nothing, I want to emphasize, the baby will be fine without pillows, without blankets, without crib bumpers. This is my son. So this is how I put him to sleep when he was 2 months old. So nothing should be in the crib except the baby. Don't worry about their head getting hurt or getting injured. You don't need to put all those soft things around. Okay. And then the emphasis is on room sharing. So means your baby's cot should be in your room, but not on the same bed. And why is this so? Because when you're in the same room as them, you can pick up when they're crying at night, when they have difficulties, for example, struggling to breathe and so on. Okay, and it can actually decrease the risk of sudden infant death syndrome by as much as 50%. So that's very significant. It's also easier for you to watch over them, comfort them if they need. Okay, and finally, a lot of parents ask me, If I don't put pillows or head positioners, my baby will get a flat head. So are these all recommended? Okay, so the answer is no. Again, pillows, wedges, things like that are all suffocation hazards. So what is scientifically or medically or evidence-based is tummy time. Why tummy time? Because the more time you spend, a baby spends on the tummy, the less pressure on the back of the head or on one side of the head, and it also strengthens their neck and back muscles, so they develop better. So this is from American Academy of Pediatrics. Back to sleep, tummy to play, every time, every day. And they will not like it at first. You see the first photo, they'll be very upset, but just keep putting them on their tummy, and then eventually they will enjoy. Okay, and maybe this one not so commonly used, but in our parents' days, a lot of them use sarung cradles, the kind that you bounce. What is it called in Malay? Why? Yeah. So in this day and age, we actually strongly discourage, because there have been babies that actually fell out of the whole structure and then sustained head injuries. So even a 30 cm drop for a newborn baby can cause bleeding to the brain. And the other thing that can happen is when you shake, it can cause the same thing to happen, the shaken baby syndrome, where the blood vessels actually tear. Okay, this is my last slide. I think we have time. Okay, I saw someone, I was very happy to see just now, someone walked in with an infant baby carrier. I don't know where you are, but yeah, so I just want to emphasize, and this is not said enough in our local context. In the Western countries, it is a law. All babies have to be in car seats because of the sheer danger that they are in even when you strap the baby and you sit with the baby at the back of the car, it is still not safe. Okay, so the recommendation is that from the time the baby is brought home from the hospital, they should be in a suitable infant car seat. Even if you don't drive or you take a taxi or Grab, put them in the portable carrier. I think there are even rental services available for car seats. And don't take your baby. So fathers, mothers, learn to ignore your child when they're crying when you drive. Yeah, because it is safer for the child to be strapped in and then yell his head off than to actually take the baby out to try to pacify him. And if the car breaks and there's a jerking motion, the baby can actually fly. Another story, these are all true stories. There was a patient, mom was carrying him in the taxi. He was 3 months old. The taxi braked, the baby flew. He made it, but now he's a teenager and he has severe cerebral palsy. So all very, very sad cases, very preventable cases. So lastly, I just want to end off by saying, because we are talking about the very early age group, right? So they should be in a car seat at the back. Never put the car seat in the front, because the airbag can get activated and you're going to imagine what can happen to the child. And don't put obstructions when you belt up the child. Don't swaddle them and then fit the seatbelt over, because if they fall asleep, can be a suffocation hazard. So make sure that the belt is well fitted. If you want to put the blanket at the waist, it's fine. Okay, but don't put the blanket over the face and the mouth. Okay, I'm going to end here. Thank you everyone for your attention. We'll go back to Ustazah.
Thank you so much, Tarila. Wow, very good information for all mummies and daddies here. I mean, like looking at the babies, I just want to ask Tarila this question. I just need to ask. The rocking chair. I mean, the rocking, what do we call it?
The buai.
Not the buai. The modern
rocker.
one. The modern one.
Baby rocker.
The rocker, yeah, the rocker.
The one that
so that one is it?
That one, so baby rockers are fine. So the key thing to note is, if the baby falls asleep in the rocker, bring them out and put them in their safe sleeping area on the back. So the danger is sometimes when they rock, they fall asleep, and then they do this, and the blanket covers the face. Then potentially
so more to hazards.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, so we pause on the babies for a while. Let's go back to ourselves as a wife and as a husband. I mean, like when we ask you to fill up the form to register, I mean, like I can say, doctor, 50% of them asking about intimacy. or sexual intercourse. All right. So I mean, like for mothers, I mean, like some of us are still going through the trauma of giving birth, so may need longer time to heal and so on. So I just want to ask doctor, can you share with us today when is the best time, or when is the safest time to actually resume sexual intercourse?
I feel that I've been given the hardest task to talk about something very intimate. I can see a lot of the men moving, adjusting their seats, but this is real, okay? In the olden days, nobody talked about this. But at the current moment, we are open to such discussions. It's something very private. And I think when in our culture especially, sometimes we don't have the opportunity to bring this up. But I'm thinking as years have gone by, I think this is very important for both the male and female. Because I just feel that sometimes you don't think about it. You just think that sexual intercourse just comes naturally. But I think what both the couple need to also remember is you need to define what is back to normal. What is husband's definition of my expectations of you being back to normal? And you yourself, the woman who are pregnant, to define what is your definition of back to normal. Don't forget that as what Ustazah says, you know, the pain, you're still recovering, the tears that you have, your Caesar scar is recovering. You need to recover first, right? And your daily necessities include being able to pass urine, pass motion, being able to pick things up, especially when you have a scar down below. And basically that's where the rest or confinement comes in. You would also think about, you know, what can I do before? Now that I am post-delivery, can I go back to what it was before, all right? There's a lot of patience. There's a lot of sometimes challenges because you're not able to do what you used to do before. Am I going to take 4-month maternity? Am I going to share my maternity leave with my husband? Am I going to go back after 2 months, for example, and then take up the maternity thereafter? And of course, the state of mind. Am I ready for next pregnancy since I'm open to sexual intercourse? And of course, sometimes people just want to get pregnant immediately thereafter. There is a set of deck of slides in our ARIF website, which was kindly, there was a talk that was given by Sister Zakia, our medical social worker, about rekindling intimacy. So I remember that she's got this rope that states, sex is a powerful tie to bind. So we always talk about the legal relationships out of it. And people connect it to sexual intercourse. But you see, in the real intimacy, there is such a thing that it doesn't definitely or need to equate to that physical exercise of sexual intercourse. Yes, you can have that physical pleasure, but there are other things involved, right? The connection, the closeness, the affection, the feeling of attractive. So we women, we are princesses. We like to feel pretty. We like to be spoiled in one way or the other. But having said that, my husband has never bought me any flowers. If he buys me flowers, the first question I'm going to ask him is, what have you done? Okay. But my husband likes to smell me at the nip at home. So I thought it's because I smell nice. But he does that when I'm cooking. He does that when, especially when the kids see. My kids are teenagers. And that's because the kids will go, ooh. But it makes him feel that he's appreciated, right? And it makes me feel appreciated. He doesn't say like, thank you, I love you, he doesn't. But we talked about this in the first session, whereby relationships, everybody's different. So this is the intimacy that can develop from there, okay? So now, the big question, right? When do you resume? You need to ask yourself, how long do I wait, right? The husband, 9 months, some of them 9 months have to fast, right? What do I do? How can I start again? What do I tell my wife, right? You cannot just say, okay, let's do it, all right? But you need to understand that the wives need to recover. You need to be clean, right? You need to make sure you have healed whether it's scissor scar, whether it's your vaginal tears, that need to heal. And a lot of times for normal delivery, by about 6 weeks, it should heal. For Caesar, the scar, by 4 weeks, the abdominal scar should heal. But you need to be patient because it's a holistic management. It's not only just this healing or his tests. There's a lot of other things. Some patients, they are traumatized when they deliver. Sometimes they are so scared that, this creature, individual, has come out from the vagina or from the abdomen, for example. So you need to accept that there are a lot of changes physically, mentally, spiritually, at all costs. And you need to ask yourself, am I ready? Am I needing this sexual intimacy purely because I fasted for quite some time? Or is it because there is time, right? Can I? That word is so powerful, may I? It's always about consent. I think the last session we talked about making it and having consent from each other. If you're going to have and trigger this intimacy that leads to sexual intercourse, but your baby's crying, doesn't work, right? All the mood all gone already. But you need to make sure there's a caregiver, for example. You need to make sure that the baby is well fed and won't cry at least for the next an hour. So you need to embrace that it needs preparation. Start with small, start with touches, start with talking to each other. I learned from my social workers that pillow talk is very powerful. Actually, I also learned silence is beautiful. When my husband talks a lot, I know he's stressed at work. But when he's silent, I know he's very happy with me, with everything around. So every relationship is very different, right? So you need to be patient. You need to be gentle. You need to understand the roles. And the other thing is, are we safe? We have got many patients. I've just seen them last Thursday, for example. 3 months down the line, they come knocking on my door. Doctor, guess what? I need another appointment. And I said, no, I checked everything. You're okay. My UPT is positive. I just tested positive in my first sexual intercourse with my husband. So you need, again, it's a cycle, right? We talk about this series from pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, thereafter. Spiritually, physically, financially, are we ready? Right? But the intimacy comes in many ways. But the action of the penetrative sexual intercourse comes in when you are ready. And I always tell the husband always tell me, Doctor, are you ready? Sometimes when I examine the wife behind the curtains, I will say it very loudly. Everything has healed very nicely, okay? And the husband will smile behind the curtain. But you need to make this work together. It's not just one-sided. So this is important, okay? I'm just going to stop here and pass back.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. So we know the period of when is it safe. So let's pass this to the man. As a husband, as a father yourself. Aku lupa dah saya cakap apa. Okay, as a husband, as a father yourself. So how best, I mean, like, husbands can show support to the wife. I mean, like, although it is safe, but some are just not ready. I mean, like, some fathers even ask how to deal with this loneliness or boredom when wife is actually highly engaged with the babies. So can you share what does Islam says about this?
Bismillah. Bismillah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Okay. So how best can husbands support their wives, and how does the husband deal with such loneliness and boredom, so on and so forth, when the mom who has gone for a tummy renovation for 9 months and going through life and death situation, and the husband does not understand. Okay, so that's the key. I'm gonna break the two things, inshallah. By supporting, I'm just echoing what Dr. Suzan and Dr. Adila mentioned. The husband should be involved. The husband should be present and involved in the life of the wife after coming back from war. Basically, I'm saying that when a wife gives birth to a child, giving birth to a human being, the Ummah of Prophet Muhammad SAW, they will be tired as someone who comes back from a war, tired, injured, need times to recover, need times to get their self in check, so on and so forth. So what the husband need to do, what we need to do is basically ringankan beban mereka, support and lighten the load of our wife. That's the first thing. That's the first thing, other than other things. And that other things, the sexual desire, so on and so forth, is there because of reason. Later I touch on that. All right. So whenever you can change a diaper, bathe the baby, so on and so forth, the husband need to learn about this before the baby comes. For myself, what I menyesal tak belajar sebelum baby datang is to learn how to massage my wife, to be tukang urut. Itu betul. Kalau sekarang saya nak orang urut saya lah. So for me, if ada kursus tukang urut, go for it because you will help your wife so much. Yeah. Ini saya recommend. Saya tak ada card lah nak hantar. Maaf. Right. So other than that, women are emotional being. You have to do this part. Tak nak, still have to do. Paling-paling be patient, be a listening ear, because the difference between wife dulu, wife sekarang ada social media. And when the wife sekarang ada social media, they will look into other people's life. And you nak kena dengar aja. Nak tak nak. Even we pun sama. The husband also are the same, because what we want for ourselves mostly is because what we see other people have. So this is the downfall of social media. So tu masalah. Because back in the day, you do not know what your neighbor are doing, your friends are doing, unless it is Hari Raya, you come to their house, then you get to know what has changed. This time of age, you know everything. People are showing everything online, and you need to not just, we just need to lower our gaze and pause from social media. It is for our spiritual health. Wallahu alam. Be supportive, be patient, always offer word of encouragement, and always be understanding. We need to, for you to, for your loneliness and boredom, medicine is this: be understanding. When we are understanding, kita tak sibuk nakkan yang kemahuan yang lain, because we understand first. Alright? Rasulullah SAW mentioned in the hadith, the best of you is the one who is best to his wife, and I am good to my wives. Or kama qala Rasulullah SAW. So to be the best is to follow the best, and the best among us is Prophet Muhammad SAW. So if we are not following the best, who are we following? The best of the best is the best towards their wife. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So this is what we need to do. We need to learn on how to be the best towards our wife. We need to ask them, because they have sacrificed their life to bring our offspring, mashallah, tabarakallah, which we can do. Men cannot deliver a child. Men are men, women are women. Assist with the household as much as we can. This is all what have been mentioned, mashallah, tabarakallah. If you can cook, now we have the confinement meals. Yeah, if you can afford it, do it. My third child was in the hospital for 384 days. Yeah, 384 days, guys. 384 days. My wife stays there, so on and so forth. The best gift that someone gave us was this confinement meal for like 1 or 2 weeks, mashallah. We don't need to think about food, just turun, ambil, mashallah, tabarakallah. It really helps us. So if you can do the cooking, don't let your wife do the cooking. If your in-laws can do the cooking, spend a little bit. So now, not just consider your spiritual health, not just your financial health, but have this planning of how do you take care of your wife after they give birth. That is the plan yang kita sering lupa. Okay, cleaning, laundry, sekarang ada banyak dobi kat luar. Just do it, masya-Allah, just easy. Just you need financial lah. Ya, tu je lah. Okay, wallahu alam. Rasulullah SAW, Sayyidina Aisha, the wife of Prophet Muhammad SAW, was asked, on what did the Prophet ﷺ used to do in his house. Sayyidina Aisha radhiyallahu anha replied, he used to keep himself busy serving his family, and when it's time for prayer, he would leave. The most busy person in the world has time to serve his family. Who are we not to serve our family? We have to throw this mindset of, no, I'm working. When I get back to work, I'm the king. No more lah, because both of the spouse are working. Even if you have a housewife, she is working at home. She is doing all the house chores. She is working. So don't expect. I saw a question about who should do more household works, household chores. The answer is both of you. It is a shared. It is a marriage. At the end of the day, it is a marriage. It is a shared responsibility. You go 100%, she goes 100%. It's not, I already do my 50%. I expect her to do her 50%. We mean in the middle. No. You give 100%, give 100%. This is very important. Very important. Allahumma salli wa sallim alaih. Encourage rest and self-care. Again, Ustaz, ni semua untuk dia je, untuk kita apa? No. The thing is, when you get married, there is an amanah from Allah SWT for you to take care of your wife. And by taking care of your wife, making them happy, making the mother of your child happy, you will be blessed. That's the important word, blessed. When you are blessed, your whole journey in this world will be easier. Everything will be put in place. Even when you are given ujian, for myself, mashallah, 384 days. The only reason that we can survive is because of Allah SWT. Allah sent the best of doctors, the best of surgeons, the best of everything. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. You need to do your tahajjud, you need to do your sadaqah, you need this spiritual aspect to increase on that. That will help us to have an easy mindset to accept what is happening. Allahumma salli wa sallim. So again, as I mentioned, we need to plan on how our super moms, super wives, mashallah, tabarakallah, to have relax, recharge, and so on and so forth. Right? Yeah. So we come to this question: How do we deal with loneliness and boredom when wife is highly engaged and interested in the baby? Number one, why is it a problem for the wife to be highly engaged and interested in the baby? Why is that a problem? There is not a problem. There is a responsibility, mashallah, tabarakallah. Just on the other side, for wives, do remember as well, you are not only a wife, you are not only a mother to the child, you are also a wife. Tu je husband yang concern. Jangan lupa kita. Because husband are the first baby. Slow juga boleh. We are the first baby. If you have 3 child, you have 4 child. The husband is the baby, the first baby. That's why dia jealous sebenarnya. Oh, besar dapat time ni. Begitu je dah penat. Oh, macam gitu. Tak boleh. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad. So again, and the other part of this question is, why should a husband feel lonely and bored? What have you been doing with your time? There's the other problem of this question. Not your question lah. The statement. Sorry. The statement. Because if you are managing or benefiting your time with Islamic knowledge or any knowledge, mashallah, or any type of skill, going to workshops, learning, so on and so forth, you won't be bored. Like I given you the Seekers Guidance.org website. There's loads of articles. There's the Project ARIF article, and even mashallah, tabarakallah. These things, please take, mashallah, tabarakallah. Read them. Memorize them. Open your own workshop. Mashallah, tabarakallah. Yeah, mashallah, these are good things like how to reduce screen time for your child, emotional wellness, during and after pregnancy, protecting yourself and your baby. Mashallah, tabarakallah. We should have less Netflix and more Nurflix. We should have less Disney Plus and more Disney Plus di masjid. Yeah. We should have that. And then you won't be bored. You are bored because you are not managing, we husband, we are not managing our time well. Allahumma salli alayhi. So the reason why our wives, the mother of our child, who has gone through labor, so and so forth, have no desire to go back to normal, so on and so forth, as how business as usual. Part of the reason is the first 12 months is really hard. Is the adapting period. For us, alhamdulillah, mungkin baby satu, alhamdulillah. Some people have the first baby ada not healthy, na'udzubillah. That's their challenge. Some suddenly their first child are twins, double the fatigue. Masya Allah, tabarakallah. So again, whatever that you are given, it is given from Allah SWT. That's the important part for the first 9 months. The first 9 months, you need to be mentally, spiritually prepared, not just financially. Not just financially. Allahumma salli wa sallim alayhi. Yeah. So part of the reason as well is because our wives, the mother of our child, lack of sleep. Even for us, men, when we lack of sleep, we are not in the mood to talk to our children, to talk to anybody. Aku tengah ngantuk, jangan kacau. Give me like 5 minutes. The difference is men can just close their eyes and sleep. Women need to prepare, main phone. Phone dah jatuh kat muka baru nak sleep. That's the difference. For men, Masya Allah, Allah have made men, when they sleep, the ears suddenly shut down. So the baby cry, they cannot hear. So the woman needs to understand that. But when the women nudge the husband, they will wake up. If they don't wake up, kick them. Yeah. Because it's part and parcel. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Yeah, and because of lack of sleep, it will be physically and emotionally affect. Wallahu alam. Again, she already has someone all over her all day, then malam nak kena layan suami lagi, penat. So what you can do is carry the burden lah. Kasih dia rest, kasih layan baby, so and so forth. Tak tahu, kena belajar. Game dia tak tahu, kena belajar. Yeah. Again, Ishad, depression is not something to be taken lightly. Macam tak apalah, zikir aja banyak-banyak lah, Allah kan ada. It doesn't work that way. You have to have both. You tengok ada something wrong, seek help. Jangan main-main. Afraid of having sexual intercourse because of pain. You have to understand. There should not be, you should not force yourself, force her. Tak boleh, husband, you kena dengar. That's not Islam. That's not Islam. That's not what the religion teaches us. That's not from the Prophet SAW. Allahumma salli wa sallim. They may have low self-esteem because of different in shape before and after. Husband tak kisah, tapi the wife yang kisah. Tutup lampu je. Berat juga, tak faham. Women want our presence, not just present. How many of us who go dates with our wife, but our hands are holding mobile phones. We are not present. Even with our children, mashallah, we are not present. This mobile phone is syaitan lah. Oh, 3 minit. Oh, cuba lah. Okay. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Okay, so take note. We need to understand. When you understand it, it will be much more easier for you to accept why she's not into it. Okay, inshallah. All right. So concerning sexual relation, Prophet Muhammad SAW have mentioned on the creation of sex itself, sexual intercourse, for 3 reasons. Number 1, why should you do it? Okay, sorry. Before we go into it, we have to understand. Again, the reason why we think there is a must for these sexual desires to be layan, this sexual intercourse nak kena ada, is because of what we approve of our eyes to see. By watching lots of haram, it will create more sexual desires. Hakikatnya, that's the only thing. By watching lots of haram, you are pulling the iman out of your eyes, and at some point you will become someone who, because of lots of haram, you will tend to be more. You will tend to attract to be attracted to others rather than your wife. Masalah. Because of the haram. Wallahu alam. Okay. So the basic things that we need to learn from sexual intercourse is actually it is because to preserve and propagate the human race. So ni je dah Trump perlu husband and wife, men and women. Okay? Not men and men, not women and women. Okay. Expulsion of semen which may cause harm to the body if it is retained. Again, you are helping wives when you dah okay, please layan your husband. Cerita dia. For his health. For his health. Again, why do the husband, kenapa sangat nak sexual intercourse ni? Because that is part of the reason why they get married. This is the halal way. And to avoid from doing sins, layankan. It is an ibadah. And husband tak boleh throw dekat, you see, I buat dosa pasal you tak layan. Tak boleh. That's not matured. Tak boleh. Itu masalah. We have people who says that, Ustaz, saya terpaksa ikut jalan haram gini-gini because isteri saya tak layan. No. Isteri awak tak layan tu awak punya masalah communication. Go for communication skills. Go for communication courses because you need this communication part to communicate with your spouse and your in-laws. Wallahu a'lam. Alright. The benefit of having sexual intercourse with your partner, it will lower your gaze, insyaAllah. You will have more self-control, insyaAllah. And it will enable you to keep yourself away from prohibited things. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Lastly, again, the more haram we watch, the less attracted we are to our spouse. The more amal ibadah we do, the more blessed our marriage will be. So it cannot be, Allah tapi nak, dia bukan nak, it's an ibadah. Tak nampak pun nak tahajud, it's an ibadah. Tak nampak pun nak tahajud, tak nampak pun nak ikut kuliah maghrib hari-hari. So nak kena understand. Don't let the sexual desire, it's a nafsu. Don't let the nafsu control us. We control the nafsu. Nafsu itself is like a horse, it's like a motorbike, it's like a transportation. If you do not control the transportation will control you and you will be in an accident. So it's how you control the transportation. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Spiritual health. Wallahu alam. Shukran.
MashaAllah, shukran, Ustaz, shukran. Okay, so I hope that will help for you to move on from today. Okay, so inshallah we have lots of questions from the Padlet. So I will ask this. I mean, like, most of the questions are for Dr. Adila. You are quite popular today, Doctor. Okay, so inshallah, you want me to ask one by one or I ask one? Okay lah. I go this one first. The first one is, okay, when a baby has a fever, when do you decide to bring the baby to a GP versus PD versus A&E?
Okay, it depends on the age of the baby. Kalau the baby is less than 3 months old and you measure, it's a true fever, you measure with the armpit thermometer is 38 and above, it is advisable to go directly to the hospital because as mentioned, we will usually admit these babies. Tapi if you feel like the baby is warm, you're not so sure, then yes, by all means bring to see a GP or PD, it doesn't matter, as long as it's a doctor that you trust. Polyclinic also, they are well trained to handle children also.
Okay, next one. What's your take on red wine or gripe water and using FM to reduce breast milk jaundice?
FM?
Formula milk.
Okay, formula milk. Okay. So gripe water for I presume is for colic, right? Gripe water, there is no real medical evidence, honestly. Sometimes we do give red wine or colic drops, whatever is worth, to see whether it helps with the baby's tummy that can be a bit upset or bloated. But gripe water, I wouldn't advise it routinely. For the other question was about formula milk and
I'm like to top up formula milk because some doctors say when babies have jaundice, like to top up with formula milk. So is it okay?
Why is it that doctors recommend it? Actually, it's more about the baby's hydration. So as I mentioned, one of the ways to flush out this jaundice from the body is to ensure that the baby is well hydrated. So if the baby, if mom has difficulties in the beginning with breast milk production, then the baby is at risk of dehydration and the jaundice can worsen. So in those situations, the doctor will usually advise to top up with the formula milk. But at the same time, it is key for the mom to keep troubleshooting the issue. So we have lactation consultant, we have your doctors, the nurses to help with the breastfeeding issues. Yeah.
Okay, last question before I move on to Ustaz. When should we start to worry when child are not, when child are not hitting milestones like rolling, walking, and etc.?
Okay, so every baby in Singapore has the health booklet. So there is a very good checklist of the developmental milestones. And those are, there's also a box of red flags. So for example, if the baby is not, a big milestone would be walking by about 1 year to 1.5 years. So if the baby is still not able to do that, then that will require medical attention. So each milestone has a different age cut off lah. So you can refer to the health booklet for that. Yeah.
Okay. I will. Okay. Thank you, doctor. I will ask you
Thank
again
you for
later
the
on.
questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask Ustaz this question. Okay. When is the best time to do circumcision in terms of religious reasoning and medical reasoning?
Medical, you can ask the doctor lah. Yeah, I will share personal punya experience. Bukan I punya baby lah. Baby circumcision. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. For both of my first and second, we circumcised them when they were babies. Reason being cepat heal, Masya Allah. Sangat cepat. Beza dengan kalau yang primary, it will take longer to heal. And you will need to not suffer lah, nak kena tahan for like 2-3 days max for babies, Masya Allah. And Masya Allah, they heal so fast. Masya Allah, tabarakallah. Yeah, so if you can do it while they are babies, please do. Please go for the option lah. But medically, I tak tahu safe ke tak, we will go for the answer insyaAllah. Allah Alam.
Okay, I would say there is no medical guideline on when is best, but if we go by what is practiced in the institution, in KK Hospital, if some of you may know, the pediatric surgeons actually offer a medical social circumcision service, but their criteria is the child has to be out of diapers. And this is because from their perspective, they see that the healing is better when there is no diapers on. Because the stools and the urine may actually impact on the healing lah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ustaz, this question is really important. Okay, so I will ask this question and I hope you will really send the message lah to the husband. Okay, so the question is, how do I deal with a husband who only wants to listen to his mother postpartum?
Where is the husband kita?
Anonymous, Ustaz.
Again, we shared this with our married couple. When you get married, you are the head of the household. You are the leader, alhamdulillah. So act like a leader. Man, please act like a leader. Even if you're staying with your mom, act like a leader. You are a leader to your wife. Please, man up. I have cases whereby, Ustaz, my wife is angry with me. Why? Because my mother asked her to make air for me in the morning, she doesn't want. That is the mindset of the mother-in-law. So, and the wife tak nak buat, sudahlah. And then what do you do as a husband? In the household, in your house, if you are staying with your mom, what do you do to comfort your wife? What do you do to understand your mother itself? Takkan tak, taklah kalau wife dia nak buat, alhamdulillah. Kalau tak buat, dah you explain to the mom lah, mom, no issue mom, I don't need a drink, I can do on my own. You have to make up, tak boleh. And follow mak punya postpartum, mak makan lain, kita makan lain. Zaman mak lain, zaman kita lain. You are marrying your wife, you're not marrying your mother. They're not the same person. That's the same gender. Nak kena understand benda tu. Sorry, saya bukan nak marah. Saya sangat marah. Dah tak boleh lah. Because you are affecting the future generation. You are affecting your children. Your children are learning from their eyes. They are looking, oh bapak macam gini, saya akan besar jadi bapak yang macam gini. Semua kena marah kan? Taklah. Yeah, again, that's the important part. You need to manage your time to read more lah, to learn more. Dah tak boleh Netflix lagi lah, dah penat lah. Nak Netflix pun tengok dokumentari je lah. Tengok educational lah. We are at the end times lah. Really. Yeah. Ada ni pun bagus juga. Even when if you are going for YouTube, you need go get beneficial YouTubes lah. Listen to Sheikh Hamzah Yusof, listen to I got this one new doctor which I'm listening to, masya-Allah. Ni muka aku. Ya, this doctor Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Later share, nervous. Yeah. Yeah, this masya-Allah, the video, the advices for parenting, the advices for your spiritual health of your children. Masya-Allah, tabarakallah. She shared dalam video tu, she shared yang ada parents ni with the harapan nak anak dia jadi hafizul Quran. Hafizul Quran. Masya-Allah, tabarakallah. Then after 1 year dia tengok first anak dia semangat, has lots of eagerness to go for such classes, to memorize the holy book. Then after 1 year, suddenly the interest lost for the children. So the parents macam, kenapa tiba-tiba suka, tiba-tiba tak suka? Check handphone, the child has been consuming pornography daily. And pornography and sex addiction is an epidemic for us Muslim nowadays. So nak kena faham. That's the reason kenapa kita sibuk fikir. Tengok most of the question, sexual desires. Not you, this is an epidemic for all of us. Even the doctor mentioned dia pergi satu tempat, the friend pergi satu tempat yang di mana you need to charge your phone for 3 hours baru dapat your phone balik. You are secluded from the world itself. When you get your phone balik, pornography. It is everywhere. Even for our child, kita suruh the most important thing is not to have internet at home, but it is possible for us at least don't have the internet in their own rooms. At least lah. Tapi Ustaz, ni penting Ustaz, ni dia punya rights. Mana ada rights? Rights ada lah, but your rights as a parents, you need to guard your children from such things. Allah Ta'ala, masih kena marah je. Maaf. Geram, maaf. Maaf. Yeah, again back to the question. Young husband, please lah, be more understanding. You're marrying your wife, not your mom. So please understand her feelings. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
I'm just going to add, I thought it's a very interesting question that you're talking about when you stay with your moms, your mom-in-laws, and if there are any differences. I think we cannot emphasize enough that communication is very important. It's very hard for when we are during confinement, our emotions are all over the place, right? Because of the hormones, because sometimes we are into the role of being a mother, breastfeeding, fatigue, not enough sleep. So I think sometimes, you have to speak about what you're going to do after delivery, who you're going to stay with. And sometimes there was one question that was submitted. What if your in-laws tell you certain rigid rules and regulations about confinement? I remember that question. I always tell, so when patients come to me and they vent, then they say, I disagree, this is not evidence-based, this is not I should do, wear pilates, and then, I don't know, I can't even go out, things like that. I always tell them this. Our elders have got more experience than us. Whether it's right or wrong, they are blessing you. They are praying for you. They have done their own research or their own, and based on experience, about how to take care of you. We are very sensitive, especially those who have delivered or pregnant. We have to have an open mind. So husbands, you have to remember that there's never a right answer, there's never a wrong answer. But your elders are supporting you, are helping you. So let's say your baby is crying, and as a mother, you're holding your baby, you're trying very hard to pacify your baby. Suddenly your mother-in-law comes and take the baby away. Do not judge. Do not take it as something negative. Take it that this is your help. But if you see your dear husbands, if you see your wife's one frown up, eyes like, why did my mother-in-law do that? Intervene and just pacify or bring your wife away for a while and let your mother have got time with the baby. So those are small things that you can work with each other. I want to remind everybody that whatever values you bring to the relationship starts from pre-marital to marital when you have children, because whatever values you have with each other is what your children are going to see. And what you teach or you learn, you're all here, is what you're going to bring towards the relationship. My husband will always make a lot of noise because my tudung must be in place. And he'll say, look, we're late, let's go. Do you know what I tell him? I am your trophy wife. I cannot let anybody say anything negative about me to you. So the same for husbands. If your wife say, I don't like your shirt, doesn't match with mine, it's okay, just change. Or else you have to sleep outside. Okay, so these are small things that the word is compromise to accommodate each other. Flowing from what Ustaz said is very important. Because you work from there, you get pregnant, I tell you, your husband will be your biggest fan. The moment your pregnancy test comes back positive, what do you all feel, the husbands? My sperm worked. Hit the pot. But that's the start of the relationship, right? And it continues again with all the pain that you went through delivery, it again, because you have a God's relationship thereafter. But anyway, we are here answering questions from the Padlet. But if any of you have got questions here, please, by all means, just raise your hands, and we are more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. That is such a good advice. Okay, back to you, Dr. Adila. Okay, so after Dr. Adila's answer the questions from the Padlet, I will open up to the floor. So if you want to ask, you just raise up your hand. My Ustazah here will help to pass the mic to you. Okay, so okay, Dr. Adila, this is question about tahnik. Tahnik is when the father or any scholars put a little bit of kurma, dates or honey to the baby. So is that okay? Generally, is that okay? Or I mean, like especially to those who has had gestational diabetes. So what's your take on it?
I would say, as what Ustaz said in the beginning, it's actually safer to use korma. So the thing is not to, of course, put a big piece in the baby's mouth, right? Because the baby has no way of being able to chew it. But I believe it is more to taste it. The thing about honey is that, especially unprocessed honey, there's a risk, a medical risk to the baby. So below 1 year old, because their intestine immunity is not mature, there's actually this thing called botulism. Don't know whether anyone has heard of it, but it is a bacteria or toxin that's found in unprocessed honey. So it can cause severe disease in the baby, and we do see a few cases. It's rare, but it happens. So I would say for tahnik, it's probably the safest to use a bit of korma. Of course, if there is allergic reaction. So the key with giving any new food, whatever you give to baby, especially during the weaning period, if you see that the baby develops rashes, swelling of the eyes or the lips, these are all allergic reaction, bring straight to the hospital. Yeah.
Okay, next one is regarding swaddle. The new Velcro and the zip one, is that okay to use?
Yeah, that's fine. So the key is as long as it's safe, it doesn't obstruct the baby's face. That's okay.
Okay, hold on, let me check. Okay, we open to the floor. Anyone? Semua seronok jawab kapet. Okay, kan? Susah? Susah?
Thank you, Ustaz. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. My name is Afiq.
Waalaikumsalam.
Betul. Okay, so Ustaz, just a question, right? Just now you talk about naming the child, right? So I think because nowadays names are getting more flashy, getting more interesting. But then I think for sometimes when you talk about naming your child, then later because your in-laws, your parents will ask, nama apa, what name you want. Later when you selected this name, because you think it's fit, then later they'll be like, oh, this name too strong for the child. That's why the child cannot bear the responsibility, So what's your take on that?
Faham, insyaAllah. The brother asked a good question. Okay, Bismillah. Basically, number one from the question is how do we deal with other people punya opinions on our judgment lah, for example. So again, like doctor mentioned, kalau baby nangis, tiba-tiba in-law ambil gebak-gerbuk, if the thing is to ease your task, Alhamdulillah. Number one, tu benda saya masuk sana dulu. Because most of the time kita ni jadi people who are jealous or no, that is not our way, so on and so forth, which we can see is actually syaitan yang nak pecahkan kita. For myself, my in-laws bukan selalu masuk campur lah. My in-laws will help out a lot. And if you are with your ego, I am the man, say I should do this, why my in-laws will always help this out? Why not? It is the best for the wife, the best for the family, so on and so forth. Turunkan ego, tengok if that is the best, then okay, Alhamdulillah. So back to the question, nama ni kuat sangat, dia boleh bear ke tak? Because of the meaning, maybe. Yeah. For example, I wanted to name my child Zikrullah. Zikir sentiasa mengingat Allah. And my wife feels that, tak nak, nanti berat sangat. Nanti he cannot help that responsibility. So we change to Zikrul Rahman. Rahman is also the name of Allah SWT. So again, goes back to the understanding of the parents, the understanding of the in-laws itself. For yourself, again, communication, I've mentioned this, we need not just a pre-marital course for couples, we need a course for in-laws as well to deal with dia punya anak menantu. We need this. Lagi-lagi in dealing with children, babies, and so forth, we need that courses. Because some people tak agree. So it goes back to communication. It goes back to how you communicate with your parents. Actually, you have two people in the teams itself. If my wife is not happy with my parents, I talk to my parents. I do things that will win her heart in their eyes. That's why I'm inside that family. Yeah, same goes as my in-laws lah. Whatever I do is not good, my wife will sugarcoat ke apa ke, just buy things. So this is from Nazi, for example. So balik kepada nama tu berat ke tidak, back to the understanding of the in-laws lah. Kalau you nak win the in-laws doa, you layankan. Kalau tak, dohol, nanti tiba-tiba dia tak jadi favorite cucu, dah leceh. Think the long game. Okay, Wallahu alam. I hope it answers. Wallahu alam.
Thank you, Ustaz.
Can I just add to that? A name is a responsibility of us as a parent. My daughter had no name for 1 month. Again, the same, because I wanted a different name, but family members wanted a different name. I feel you. I know the difference, but the fact that my husband knew I was during confinement and didn't tell me about the issues behind it, I was just wondering why he didn't put the name lah. All right, I wanted the name, but he just didn't put down the name. So eventually, I asked him and I said, "This kid has no name, may not have a citizen either. So you better do that birth cert." So eventually I asked him what's the issue, and he said that because, as what Ustaz said, nama tu berat, means that it's a bit heavy. But what I saw as a mother, or what you can see as a father, yes, you can defy and for the rest of the life be spoken to, but take it as an amanah and take it as a responsibility. So what I did, because this name was heavy, every single day I vow to make sure that my daughter lives up to that name. Sure, it is my responsibility, and now she's 17, nobody says anything about the name. And the only reason I took that name was because when she was born and I said that name, she turned. And that was to me a sign that God was showing me that perhaps that's her name. So this is what we pregnant ladies or post-delivery feel that perhaps husbands may not feel. Those are small, small things. So just to add to that. So my daughter's name is Nurul Iman, Cahaya of Iman. So it's very heavy. So it's my job. I will live up to it, inshallah. I try.
InsyaAllah, insyaAllah. Ya, tak apalah nak cerita, tak ada time. It's okay. Alright. Okay, Dr. Adila, here's question for you. If I have a history of asthma, what do I look out for in my baby in case he also has asthma?
So the asthma is true, can run in the family. How to tell? You can't really predict whether a child will have asthma or not in the beginning. So the way we diagnose is if every time the child has a virus, it goes down into the lungs and it causes wheezing. They always need inhaler, nebulizer, always breathless. Then there's a likelihood of asthma. So whenever the general advice is, whenever you see a child is breathless, not feeding well, especially when they are sick, bring straight to see a doctor. Yeah, but you can't really predict whether your child will get asthma or not. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, anyone else wants to ask question? Okay. Brother at the back. Mana mic? Okay.
Assalamualaikum. Yeah, my name is Sultan. So firstly, I think I want to take this opportunity to thank the team, the doctors, especially CT, who has been really supportive. I think this is an amazing platform. We are all learning a lot. So thank you so much. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. So now my question is, before I go to the question, I'll tell you what's the problem. So I have a 10-month-old daughter. So basically, she doesn't sleep in the cot, cries out uncontrollably when she's on the pram and stuff like that. So even since the early beginning of the signs, right, of this, I think about 4 months, 5 months, around then. So I've read about this thing called the period of purple and things like that. So maybe you can advise a bit more on that. And my actual question is, basically, when do they have this kind of conditional learning? Like, you know, when they start crying, we carry them and then they stop crying. So how to prevent this? That's the first part. And now for a 10-month-old, how do we undo this? First now, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Sorry, I didn't catch the phrase that you used.
I think period of purple.
Period of purple.
Yeah, it was
purple.
It was said by a doctor in KKH, and then I went to read up more about
the
that.
color purple.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which means they just cry for no reason and something
Period.
along that lines.
Okay, I don't think it's a very conventional term. Honestly,
All right.
I've not really used that. But in terms of whether, so like leave them to cry, pick them up and train them, I think maybe we're talking more about sleep training, is it? Is this a period you're trying to get her
Maybe also the place where they sleep, you know, if they don't want to sleep in the cot, but just want to be on the bed next to the mom.
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of it is about starting early. Because now baby is 10 months, so she may be used to sleeping with mom. So it's very difficult to get her to undo that comfort. Because what baby, when they sleep, they always look for something comforting. So some moms, they breastfeed the baby to sleep. Then the baby always need the latching. If not, cannot fall asleep. And they will keep waking up every few hours because it's not that they are hungry. As they get older, they don't need the night feed, but they need that comfort. So for those who are starting off, I would advise from the beginning, get the baby used to sleeping in their own sleeping area. Tapi for parents who, baby is already used to sleeping with mommy, it may be a bit more challenging. You may have to, if you really, really want to train the child to undo that attachment, you may have to suffer in the beginning and allow the baby to cry. So some people practice like, you leave the baby and then gradually longer and longer and longer, you let the baby cry. But there is no hard and fast rule. Go with what you feel is right. And the key is if the baby cannot tolerate, if mommy gets very stressed, it's okay. It's okay. And for a 10-month-old, I would say it's a little bit safer in that sense because they can protect themselves, not like a newborn baby who is, they can suffocate easily. Yeah, so you may have some leeway in that sense. Yeah, yeah. So all the best for that. Yeah.
Sorry, doctor, can I just ask,
Yes.
so if the baby is crying, right, is there a safe number of minutes where we can allow them to cry before we carry them? Something like that.
Not really, not really. So when a baby cries, if you want to train them, make sure that you're observing and you're always there. If the baby is starting to sound very distressed, and her crying becomes you can tell that they're in pain, then of course just go ahead and carry the baby. Baby crying for attention, you can actually let them cry and then just make sure that you watch. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Bismillah. Just to share a story about my son when he was a baby. We went to the Saru for holiday. The Saru biasalah beside the sea, ni semua malam-malam berhantu lah, whatever lah, you know lah, Malay lah. So the thing is, our son was crying like after Maghrib to cry sangat-sangat. Alamak ni apa cerita ni? I asked for my dad, buat air bah. Baca doa lah, gerbak-gerbuk. Then I asked my sister, tak tahu baby cry something kita dah azan semua still cry So how my sister just answered, try tutup aircon. Then tutup aircon, dia stop nangis So not everything, ni bukan tak ada kena yang tu lah, ni just as a general knowledge, not everything hantu lah, jin lah, whatever. Still like mention the cry of the baby, tengok environment tengok, because that is the language of the baby. Wallahu alam.
Yeah, so next time your baby cries, switch on the aircon, then the mother will cry. Okay, so I think that will be enough for today. For those unanswered question or you still have something that you want to ask, feel free to approach them after this, inshallah. Okay, so for all the unanswered question from the previous session also, and today's questions plus last week's questions, we will email to you and also the slides, right? Okay, inshallah. So I will pass to Dr. Susanna to sum up today's session.
I just have two last slides. You all are doing well. The fact that you're here and you want to learn, alhamdulillah, I have to salute you. In our days, there was no such things. We learned it the hard way. We entered the pool and we swam. Nobody taught about sexual intimacy. Nobody taught about how to care for a baby, and we did it. And with all this support, I think you can do better than us. Our job here is for you guys to do it better than all of us. The first thing that husbands can do is take care of yourself. Your health is very important because you need the stamina to tolerate your wife. And wives, you must take care of yourself as well because it's important for you to be able to prepare what people say before pregnancy, when you're pregnant, and for the rest of your life. So both of you have got a responsibility. And when you are in good health and you are well, that's when you recover faster, you're back to normal faster, you know how to adapt faster. That is when the rekindling of the intimacy will come naturally even faster, right? And it's a tag team, it's not only just one, it's both of you. So husbands, I have to say, when your wife is pregnant, you are unfortunately also pregnant. The wife will put on weight, some of you also will put on weight, right? You share the love. But it's fine. Because at the end of the day, your job is to support your wife as much as you can. And you must make sure that she understands she's just as beautiful, no matter what, as how you saw her when you fell in love with her. And that love will continue as you invest in the relationship, as you spend time with each other. And you must make sure that you represent each other. And that's why you're husband and wife. So this is the basic of a relationship. I become social worker like this. But anyway, you must laugh it off. You got good days, you got bad days, you must laugh it off. And many years down the line, you realize that when you see your children healthy, doing well, and doing what, as Ustad say, live up to the name that you're given, that's when you realize your mission is accomplished. And this will continue until you grow old. So this is very important. With that, please take care of yourself, stay safe, And thank you for coming today.
Inshallah, thank you so much, Dr. Susanna. All right, so kesian husband hari ni, asyik husbands. If you think it's too much for you, please find your own support also. And wife, tanya-tanyalah kabar husband juga. We go through this, but at the end of the day, the reason why we come out with these 4 episodes of talk show with Arif is for husbands and wives to understand the importance of communication. Be it what topic it is, communication is very important. So communicate with one another. Inshallah, you will go through well with one another, inshallah. Okay, so we will invite before we end this session, I'm gonna give us a little bit of time. I will do Project Arif. Want anything to say? Okay, a little bit. Sharing from Project Arif.
Test. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can I just stand here? Can I? Okay. Thank you so much for your attendance today. We are very humbled to see all of you here together with your babies. Okay, a little bit. I won't talk more about Project Arif because I think my colleague and I have explained about Project Arif for the past 3 sessions. I would like to focus more about one particular activity that we're doing at the moment, which is our research. We are currently studying the experience of new parents, new Muslim parents, how they are from pregnancy, before pregnancy, during pregnancy, post delivery, and their experience parenting their child for the first 2 years. Okay, so if you are interested, and especially if you gave birth to your eldest child post July 2020, okay, do approach us and hopefully that you can participate in our study, and hopefully we can learn more knowledge about our community and our community's experience being new parents, inshallah. Okay, so that's one. Number 2, for all of you who has participated in our, SaturDATE Berbual Mak-Mak for 2 sessions and more, you are eligible to receive some NTUC vouchers. So please come over to our table for us to give the vouchers to you. Okay, that's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Regarding the vouchers, for those who are not presented today, no worries. We will email it to you also. Email? No, sorry. Post it to you. Okay. So slides, please. Sorry. I would like to ask a favor from you guys. This will be our last session. We really need your feedback on these matters so that inshallah, who knows, this will be a yearly event, inshallah. Okay, so we want your feedback for how can we improve in the future.
While you are all busy doing the feedback, which we truly appreciate, I just would like to extend, on behalf of Project ARIF, I would like to extend our gratitude to each and every one of you who have been here, who had been here before, in the last 4 sessions and also online. As it is, this session is recorded, so feel free if your spouse are not here, for example, you can go to that. The website has got a lot of materials which we have uploaded, so feel free to go to that as well. Last but not least, I would like to thank the staff, ustads, all the ustazah from Istighfar for having us and for allowing us to use the venue and having you on board. So with that, I really thank you from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We also like to thank you, Team Project Arif, the doctors, for spending your Saturday morning with us, and to all of you, your thank you so much for being here. I mean, like, I'm so happy to see the number of fathers, the number of husbands. I'm like, we can say quite a lot, huh, Sarah? Yeah, always, normally when we do events, only the ladies will be here. All right, so I hope this is a good change. So hopefully in the next future, the husbands, the fathers are more willingly to come to the mosque for such talks. All right, so before we end, I would like to tell you that inshallah next week on the 22nd July, Al-Istighfar Mosque will be doing a family book fest. Okay, it will be from 11 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m. We have lots of events. Yeah, there family book fest 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. So there's there's this one talk that I will recommend to you, which is Akil Baligh talk by Ustaz Yusri Yubahi and also Sis Marina Yusof. I'm like, it's good lah for you to know how to talk to your children when they reach puberty later on, although that will be years later lah. Okay, so it's but knowledge is always good, right? Okay, so yeah, for those with young children, but it's like for more 5 years old and more, we also have storytelling about our Muslim heroes if you want to send them lah. Okay, and also I would like to encourage you to follow our IG at Media Istighfar and also at the Ladies Minaret. That this is where we promote this is where we give posters and all. So for those who can't attend the previous talks, you can always go to the Ladies Minaret link tree at Ladies Minaret. We already put the link there for you to watch the previous episodes. Okay, and also please follow ARIF Family SG. They also have Instagram. Okay, and last but not least, Masjid Al-Istighfar also have Clinic Tanya Asatiza. If you have religious questions, feel free to book a slot. But currently we can only do on weekdays during office hours. So feel free. You choose whether you want to come down or we can call you. Okay. So that's all. With that, we thank you, and thank you from the bottom of our heart. We hope that all these 4 sessions are beneficial for you, and may we practice them, whatever we have learned in our life. Inshallah, with that, we end with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus solihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.